I started this week with 3 games circled for the weekend. First of all, Pittsburgh, college football. I hated the number 21, but I love the game. I thought it easily could be covered at 21, 27, 28, but it's just a number I don't like to lay. I ended up teasing that one with Michigan, and Michigan lost at home to Purdue for the first time in 43 years. Second game was obviously my heavy game, and that was Houston. I've been waiting for this game. When you have a game of the year, I look for a couple of different things. Obviously, the number one thing I usually like to look for, if you look at the pattern, is I like to look for a team with a great defense, but that wasn't the case here. What I looked for was a team that I liked more than the public did, and a team that the public thought less of. So basically, you're going to get a better number. In Tulsa, I think less of them than the public does. In Houston, I think more Houston than the public does. Therefore, I get a good number. I thought Houston would at least afford. I wouldn't have a game of the year that I didn't think wasn't going to win by 2 touchdowns. There were too many things about Houston that I like. Houston, they were very good at protecting the quarterback. They're very efficient, obviously, offensively. I'm not even going to tell you how much talent they have. They're good at protecting the quarterback. They don't turn the ball over. They don't give up kick returns. They don't do stuff like that. And that's really what I look for. Tulsa came out and they played the absolute best game they could. And you know what? They really didn't even have to play the best game they could. Houston played almost their worst game that I've seen them play as of yet. And the reason being, one of the things that Houston did that I notice about them is you have a front four in Houston, all which think they're defensive ends. They ran by the quarterback. They took a quarterback that is not very good in the pocket. He really isn't. I mean, this is a guy who can throw a little bit. But you know what? If you keep him in the pocket, you're going to make him think. And when he thinks, he usually makes mistakes. They ran right by him and let him scramble for first down after first down. And that was unfortunate. You know what? And the reality is that all in all, if you watch the game, we got fortunate at the end that we got our push. We know that for sure. We had our opportunities. They should have won by 2 touchdowns. They fumbled in their own end, in their own red zone. They fumbled in Tulsa's red zone. It was just one of those games. They played as bad as they could to win that game. We got a push. It was our biggest college football release of the year, up to date, 55 units, and it ended up at a push. And you know what? We'll have to take it. And quite honestly, we shouldn't complain about it. But you know what? It's just one of those things. The third game, obviously, was Arizona. And Arizona went off today as far as the NFL. And you know what? The only reason it wasn't rated higher because I couldn't figure out why it was Arizona -3 or +3 at the time. At some point, it was like, okay, I know Arizona's a lot better team than the Bears are. What's going on here? And you know what? I've been telling everybody in my write-ups the last couple of weeks how bad the Bears are. The Bears just aren't very good. You know what? That defense is built around Brian Urlacher. That defense is built around having Superman in the center, a guy who can tackle any running back coming through, and if it's a play action, who could run back 20 yards as fast as he can to cover a tight end down the middle without a problem. The Bears don't have that guy anymore. You know what? They build this defense around the fact that this guy would be able to cover a big chunk of the field, and he's not there anymore. So you could pretty much pick your spots, and that's exactly what they did today. So anyway, we added 30 units to the bank. So in a weekend where we had 3 releases, we released 100 units, which in our numbers is 1/3 of our total bankroll in 2 days. We ended up plus 13 units. We dropped 16.5 on the teaser. We gained 13 on Arizona. You know what? Sometimes small little positives work. And you know what? The reality is that I wanted a heck of a lot more this weekend. But you know what? Especially, I mean, that was upset Saturday. I mean, if you really look at the numbers and what the heavy money was on, Wisconsin obviously was everybody's darling right around an hour before game time. Everybody jumped on. One of the major services released Wisconsin as a game of the year. And all of a sudden, everybody jumped on and said, yep, they're my game of the year, too. And, of course, you got Wisconsin, Georgia Tech, teams like that. None of the major teams covered. I think Pittsburgh and Fresno State were the only teams that really covered that big number. So, you know what? Considering we made it through that this weekend, plus 13.5 units, I guess we can't complain. Anyway, tscmick@yahoo.com. As far as going into tomorrow, we're 2-3-1, and we're down, I believe, 11.5 units. You know what? How about that? We're going into Monday night. I think we've won 3 consecutive Monday nights. We've worked really hard on them. I think we've had a couple teasers. We had a side or total. And you know what? We've won 3 in a row. One more win. We're 1 win away again from a winning week going into yet another week. So, you know what? I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward. tcmick@yahoo.com. One thing I would like to address before I let this go. First things first, I'm a sports handicapper. This is a business. I am on YouTube to make videos. 1, to communicate with people who don't know who I am. Okay, to let them know exactly what I do, okay, and how we run things here. Maybe give them some insight into the kind of service I run. Secondly, is to have some kind of a monitor on myself too. I usually mention the games that I played, okay, and it's also monitored obviously by parlayhelp.com. But the gist of it is that basically what I'm doing is I'm communicating to people, normally my users, okay, of what I do. As far as policies, etc., I'll make those myself. You know what? I'm referring to somebody who actually questions why, if I can put on a video on Friday night, why I'm releasing Game of the Year and I'm not going to release it till 11:15. Well, here's the gist. I went to my investors, etc., and I asked them, said, what time do you think would be the best time to release a Game of the Year? And you know what? That person said, how about an hour before game time like you do every other week of the year? If you don't like the fact that I release something at the same time at 11 o'clock, 1 hour before game time on a weekly basis, then I don't care. First and foremost, if you have an opinion and you want to put something out there and send me a few emails about it, feel free, first and foremost, to buy a freaking package. I have never at any point not released something early if I had it to somebody if they had some kind of an issue. If any person who's ever been one of my subscribers has ever come to me and said, can you help me out here, I've always gone out of my way to do it. It's never not been a scenario. I've always given them everything I can. And you know what? Sometimes there's some late comes up, they're understanding people. We're in a big boy's business here. First and foremost, buy a package. If you don't like it, that I don't want to be your YouTube friend, deal with it. I'm sorry. I'm not on YouTube to collect friends. That's not the way we do things around here. Things are released an hour before game time. I released the pick for Houston at 9 a.m. at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not because I wanted to, but because it was necessary to do it. At some point, what we do in this business is we predict trends. And you know what? A game that I released at 1, that was at a half, and even at pick at some of your major online sports books, like check Pinnacle. If you have an issue with the fact that I'm going to release it when I want to, that's what I have to do. This is the business that we choose. I released that game almost 11 hours before the game time. 11 hours. The game times that I choose to release these games are times when I feel confident that we have a good grasp on everything that every variable that goes into these, whether it be line moves, whether it be injuries, whether it be weather reports, whether it be officials, umpiring, whatever we look into, it is released when it's time to release it. If you don't like the fact that I'm advertising a Game of the Year on a video the night before for the next day, deal with it. Feel free to buy a package. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm not a real hard guy to find. By the way, I'm not interested in being your YouTube friend. Buy a package. tcmick@yahoo.com. Have a good day.